Hello everybody, it's Crystal. So today I'm going to be showing you how to crochet this. I made it smaller for tutorial purposes, but this can be a big full-blown blanket. My last tutorial, I have it right here. I made it square. So this is the square version right here. I have a tutorial for this, and I will put a link to the tutorial below in the description box, or it'll be the very first comment in the comment sections. It'll be from me, and then it'll show you how to make it square. Now you can make these as big as you want, blanket size. Here's the back of the square, very nice and clean, and you can use any weighted yarn you want, any colors, doesn't matter. And this is a tutorial for the rectangle version, around and around and around. I did have to start with 2 rows of double crochet to get it wide enough so it wouldn't buckle in on itself. But yes, make this as big. I mean, just keep going around and around and around, and you'll have it rectangle style. Make a very beautiful blanket. Remember, any yarn you want, as many colors as you want, as big as you want, as small as you want. Use it for whatever you want. The sky's the limit. So the tutorial that I'm getting ready to show you is for the rectangle version, and the square version I have a tutorial for that as well. And like I said, if you look in the description box, it'll be there, and it also in the comment section, the very top comment, it will be from me, Bagoday Crochet, and it'll have a link, and it'll take you to the tutorial for the square one in case you prefer that. So do you guys want to go ahead and get started? Let's do it. All right, so for this particular project, I'm going to be using 2 different colors of yarn. Of course, you can use whatever yarn you like and however many colors that you like. But the shells that you see, they are done in Red Heart Super Saver Metallic. It's just a 4-weight acrylic with metallic in it. And then the V-stitches, you see here, or the puffies, they are done in Caron Simply Soft Party Yarn, which is also just a medium 4-weight with acrylic with metallic in it. So they're both just acrylic 4-weight with metallic running through them. If you're interested, that pink is called Soft Pink Sparkle on Caron, and the gray metallic is a light gray. All right. All right, and then I'm going to be using size H, which is a 5mm crochet hook. All right, so this has, I have to have 2 setup rows for this before we start doing the puffs or the shells. All right, 2 double crochet rows to set it up. So I'm going to go ahead and start with a slip knot on my hook. Okay, we're going to do a chain of 18. Alright, so we got our chain of 18. Okay, sorry. Alright, now we're going to do a double crochet in the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, in the 6th chain from our hook. So we don't count the one that's on our hook. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then go ahead and double into the sixth chain there. So you kind of got a bigger chain there on the end, which is okay. Part of that's going to count as the corner when we get back around. All right, so now we're going to work across, and we're going to put 1 double crochet in every stitch until we get to the end of the row. I'll see you at the end. All right, so I've made it to the end. Now, you need to count your double crochets here, and you should have a total of 13, but do not count this big long chain on the end. If you don't count him, you should have 13 double crochets. Okay, you need to have that number. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go back into the very last stitch that we just worked double crochet into, and we're going to work some more stitches into it. So we're going to go back into that very last stitch, and we're going to work a double crochet, a chain of 2, and another double into that same spot. So that created a corner. We're not done yet. Now we got to go back into the same stitch again and put one more double, and then back in the same stitch again, and we're going to make the corner again. So we have to put another double, and this is all going in that same stitch, another double, a chain 2, and another double into that same stitch. So that created another corner, and we have to start the next row with a double into that same stitch, because we ended the top of the row over here with a double in that stitch. All right, a lot of doubles here. All right, so this corner stitch now should have 2 doubles, chain 2, 3 doubles, chain 2, and then 2 doubles. All right, now we're going to work across the bottom of the chain. Now, counting this double crochet right here that we just did as number 1, we're going to work across, and we need to have a total of 13, just like we did on the other side. But we got to count that first one, not any more of them, just that first one. So the one after we did our corner there. So 1, 2. I don't like working on the bottom of chains very well. 2. That's 3. 4. So continue across, and when you get near the end, you should have your 13. All right, I'll see you there in a second. All right, so I come to the end, and counting from this stitch all the way down to the second to the last double crochet before the chain, before the chain space. So here's our chain 2, not counting that one, but all these you should have 13, because we need to make sure we have matching numbers on each side. And now we're at this big long chain, so we're going to count the chains of it. 1, 2, 3, and then the fourth or the 5th spot, it doesn't really matter. So just one of those spots, we're going to go into it, and we're going to work a double crochet, a chain 2, a double crochet. So that is our 3rd corner that we've made, and then we're going to put 1 double crochet back into the same stitch. And then we got to do a corner again. So this chain is going to count as one of the double crochets of the corner. So we're going to put 1 more double back into it. And then we're going to chain 2. And then we're going to end by slip stitching into the top of this chain. Now I'm going to clip my yarn, because I'm going to be switching colors every row. Even on the startup rows, I'm going to do that. Alright, so I'm going to clip that off. Now, if you count all the way around now, you should have 15 in between these chain 2 spaces on each side. 15 doubles. Counting that chain this time. All right, so he counts in between this chain 2 space and this chain 2 space. 15. Same on the other side. In between this one and this one, 15, and then in between the ones on the side, 3. All right, so now we're going to go around one more time with some double crochet before we start the shells and puffs. All right, so you can start in any chain space that you'd like. Just going to start in the one that we ended in. We're going to chain one. Now in this spot, we're going to work 1 double crochet. Oh, sorry. That was a half double. We're going to work 1 double crochet, chain a 2, and then 1 more double crochet back into that space. All right, and now we're going to work around, putting a double crochet in every stitch. So make sure you go into the top of this chain space, because that counts as a stitch, and double crochet. And sometimes the next one gets a little stretched out. Make sure you don't forget that one. That double crochet if you want to hide them tails as you go. It's easier. That's up to you though. So I'm going to work across, and I'm putting 1 double in every stitch until I get to my next chain 2 space. All right, and that is where I'll meet back up with you, right here. All right, so I've made it all the way down here to my chain 2 space here in the corner. So we're going to go into that space, and we're going to work 1 double crochet, a chain of 2, and 1 more double crochet. All right, and then we're going to work a double crochet in each of these 3 stitches here. And then we're at our next chain 2 space, and in that space we're going to work the same thing as the other ones, a double crochet, a chain of 2, and a double crochet. Sorry, my camera's getting blurry. I don't know why it's doing that. I have my anti-blur on. I'll have to fix that here in just a second. All right, now we're just going to continue across, putting 1 double crochet in every stitch on this side, and I'll meet back up with you when we get to the chain 2 space here. Don't forget the first guy, sometimes he hides depending on how thick your yarn is, but sometimes he'll be hiding. All right, 1 double in every stitch, and I'll see you there at the next chain 2 space. All right, so I made it across here, and I'm at my chain 2. So into that spot, I'm going to work the same thing. I'm going to work a double, chain 2, and another double. And then I'm going to finish this out by working a double crochet in these last 3 stitches. There's 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to go ahead and end around 2 here by slip stitching into our first double crochet here of this corner. And then I'm going to switch colors again, and I'll tell you, here we go. All right, so now this time around, in between your chain 2 spaces, on the long sides, you should have 17 double crochets on each of those sides, and on the short sides, now you should have 5 in between each. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and clip that off, and I'm going to switch back. Like I said, I'm switching every other row. Okay, that's the last of the setup rows of double crochet, but we do have to do a couple setup rows of the pattern as well before we can take off on repeating. Okay. All right. Now we're going to do shell row. And you can start in any one of these chain 2 spaces that you'd like. I'm going to start opposite in, I guess. It doesn't really matter, but okay, go on in there. Now, on this row 3 here, the shell will be worked different on this row than it will be on any other row, the corner shell. All right, this is just a setup row. So row 3 here, we are going to work 5 double crochets, chain 1, and then work 5 double crochets. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Slide them over a little bit like that. You want to chain 1 and go back into the same spot and work 5 more double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So we got in that corner, we got 5 doubles with a chain 1 and then 5 more doubles. Okay, and now we are going to skip 2 stitches, and make sure this one always hides. It hides, skip, skip, and then the next one, we're going to single crochet. Okay, and then we're going to skip 2 again, skip, skip, 1, 2, the next one, we're going to work 9 double crochets here into the same stitch, so it's a 9 double crochet shell. All right, and then we're going to skip 2 again, and remember that first one kind of always gets stretched out, so don't forget him. 1, 2, and single into the next, and then again we'll skip 2, skip, skip, and work 9 doubles into the next. So this is what we're going to do all the way across. We will work our 9 doubles, skip 2, and work a single. Well, and then we'll be at the end. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and finish. I'm going to do my 9 doubles. I'm going to skip 2. I'm going to single, and then we'll have 2 stitches left, and I'll meet up with you here at this next chain space. All right, so I have made it. I did a single crochet. I have 2 stitches left. I'm going to skip those 2 stitches, and in this chain space, I'm going to work the same thing that I did in this chain space. So it's going to be 5 double crochets, a chain 1, and 5 more double crochets. So there's 5. You can slide them over if you need to. Chain 1. Make sure you get that chain 1, and do 5 more. All right, and then we are going to skip 2. Make sure you skip this one because it always hides. So there's 1, 2, single crochet into the next, and then you should have 2 left to skip. So skip, and this one right here, you skip, and then you're at your chain 2 space again. So we work the same thing that we did over on the other chain 2 spaces, which is 5 doubles, chain 1, and 5 doubles. Here's 5. Make sure you chain 1 and 5 doubles again. There it is. All right, so now we're going to do the same thing on this side that we just did on this side. So we will skip 2, don't forget about this first one, skip, skip, and single crochet into the next, skip 2, skip, skip, 9 doubles, and then you skip 2, skip, skip, single crochet, skip 2, skip, skip, 9 doubles, skip 2, skip, skip, single, and you'll have 2 left, just like we did on the other side. So I'm just going to do the exact same thing over here that I just did over here, and I'll see you at this chain 2 space. Alrighty, I've made it to my last 2 stitches here before the chain 2 space, so you should have done a single, have 2 left, so go ahead and skip them, and in the chain 2 space we do what we did in the other 3 chain 2 spaces. It's 5 doubles, chain 1, and 5 doubles. Make sure you chain 1 and go back in and work 5 more doubles. Like that. And you have 5 stitches here, right? On the end, skip 2, single crochet into the middle one, skip the other 2, and we're going to end round 3 by slip stitching into our first double crochet of our first corner shell. All right, I'm going to tie off here, and oh, that just grabbed the metallic, and tie this off, and let's see what we got now. I hope this works out here. All right, this is round 3, and you should have yeah, 4 of the smaller, well, they're the corner ones, and then 4 of the 9 double ones. So see, that's what it looks like. Okay, and now we're going to do a row around 4, which is a puff stitch row, but it's a set up puff stitch row as well. So we'll go ahead and start that. All right, so I'm going to bring my other yarn in, and this time let's go ahead and start. You can start in any single crochet that you like. I'm going to start into a single crochet that's next to a corner. Doesn't really matter which one, but any single crochet that you like, go ahead and start your yarn. And now we're going to do puff stitch row. This is row 4. So we're going to chain 1 to start that, and this is how the puffs are made. So we're going to yarn over and go into the single crochet and draw up a loop. We want to do that 4 times. That was number 1. All right, again, yarn over, go into the same spot, draw up a loop. That's 2 times. Yarn over, go into the same spot again, draw up a loop. That's 3 times. One more time, we're going to yarn over, go into that same spot, draw up a loop. You'll have 9 loops on your hook. You want to go through all of them except for the last one. So go through 8, like that. And then you'll have 2 left after you do that. Yarn over and go through the remaining 2, like that. And then we're going to chain 2. And we're going to go back into the same spot and make another puff. So we're going to yarn over, going into the same spot as that last puff, draw up a loop. You want to do that 4 times. That's 1, yarn over, go into the same spot, draw up a loop. That's 2 times. Yarn over, same spot, draw up a loop. That's 3 times. One more time, yarn over, draw up a loop. It's 4 times. You should have 9. Yarn over and go through all of them except for that last one, like that, and then yarn over and go through the remaining 2, and that is a puff V-stitch. So that's what's always going to be worked here in our single crochets. Now we're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and we're going to come to this shell. Now this particular shell has 9 double crochets. You want to find the middle one, which would be the 5th one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, this fifth one here, and we're going to do a back post slip stitch. So around the post, we're not going into the top of the stitch, all right, because we have to work into that later. We're going around the post of the stitch from the back. So you take your hook and you put it around that middle stitch and then back around like that. So the post is on the back of your hook, and we just slip stitch. So we just pull the yarn through the loop on your hook like that, and then we chain 2, 1, 2, and then we come up to the next single crochet, and we're going to do this puff V stitch again. So we're going to go ahead and yarn over. We got that chain 2 on our hook. We're going to go ahead and yarn over and go into that and do our puff V stitch. Remember, yarn over and go through all of them except for 1, and that will leave you with 2, and then yarn over and go through 2, chain 2, go back in and do another puff into the same spot. Yarn over and go through all of them but 1. Yarn over and go through the other 2. Puff V stitches made. We're going to chain 2, and we're coming up on the shell here has 9 doubles, so we have to do the same thing again. We got to find that middle one. So I always count over 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's our middle one, the fifth one. Go stick your hook from the back side and then back around the post to the back like that, and just grab your yarn and pull it right around the post and then right through that loop on your hook. So that was a back post slip stitch, and then we're going to chain 2, and in the next single crochet we are going to do a puff V stitch again, and it will be fine if it feels like your work's twisting and pulling and being weird. It will level out later. All right, so we'll do our puff V stitch again here into the single, chain 2, another puff, chain 2. Okay, so now we're coming up on the corner shell, and remember I said this is different than any other row. All right, now what we're about to do is also different than any other row. It won't ever be done like this again. So before we went into the middle of the group, we back post slip stitched into the middle stitch of the 9 doubles, but we don't have 9 doubles here. We have 5, a chain 1, and 5. So working in this 5, we're going to do the back post slip stitch in the middle one of this 5. So it would be the third one. 1, 2, 3. This is the only time that you'll have to do this on this row. You still got that chain 2 on your hook. So back post slip stitch in that middle stitch of the group of 5 here on the corner. After this, it'll be normal. It'll be normal like that. And then we're going to chain 2 again. And now in this chain 1 space here, we're going to do a puff stitch in the corner. Now, how I'm getting ready to show you, the corner puff is how it's always made. All right. So we're going to go into the chain 1 space and we work a puff like normal. Yarn over and go through all of them but 1, and yarn over and go through 2, and then we're going to chain 2, and we're going to go back in to the same spot and work another puff. like that, and we're going to chain 2 again, and we're going to go back in and work one more puff. So that is how the corner puffs are made. Pretty much like the other ones, except for there's an extra puff. Like that. There we go. That's our corner puff. Then we got to chain 2. And remember, this particular one is different. There's only 5 here instead of 9. This is the only time that, this is the only row to be like that. So find the middle one of the 5, which is the third one over. 1, 2, 3. And back post slip stitch around that one. Like that. And then chain 2. And then we have a single crochet here. And we're going to put a regular puff V-stitch right here into that single crochet. And chain 2, and then one more puff. Like that, and then we have to chain 2. And now we're at our corner shell again. So we're going to do it the same way that we just did this one. Remember, it's the only time it'll be done where you back post slip stitch through 5. So you got the chain 2 on your hook and find your middle of the group of 5. 1, 2, 3. So that third one, back post slip stitch around the post of it. Like that. Chain 2. And then in the chain 1 space, we're going to work our corner puff. Same thing we just did right here. So we just work a puff. Chain 2. Go back in and work another puff. And chain 2, since it's the corner, we're going to work another puff in the same spot. And that's how the corner puffs are always made. And we're going to chain 2. And since we only have 5 here on this particular shell, you find the middle one. 1, 2, 3, and back post slip stitch around that one. Alright, chain 2. And now we're just going to repeat on this side what we just did on this side. So in the single crochets, we do the puffed V. And then we chain 2. And now we have 9, a shell with 9, so you find the middle, the 5th one. And you do a back post slip stitch around that middle of the group of 9. And chain 2. And then you add a single crochet again, so you puff V, chain 2. Back post slip stitch around the middle of the group of 9, so it'll be the 5th one, chain 2, and then you come to a single, you puff V, and then I'll meet you at this corner again. All right, we'll go ahead and do the corner together again since it's different than than the other ones. Alright, so I just did my puffy here before this corner. So we're going to do the same as we did the other corners. We're going to chain 2 after that puffy. And in this group of 5, we have to back post slip stitch around the middle one, which will be the 3rd one. And then we're going to chain 2 again. And then in the chain 1 space, we make the puff V's with 3, like we did on the other corners. Corners with the puffs are always made the same now. There's 1 puff, chain 2. Two puffs, chain 2, and since it's the corner, we gotta do 1 more. Like that, and you have to chain 2 after that. And since this is after this row, all the other from now on, the corners, they'll be normal. They'll have 9, not 5. All right, they'll have 9 on each side, not 5. So but yes, you have to back post slip stitch through the middle one there of this group of 5, like that. Have to chain 2 afterwards, and then you have a single crochet there, so you just puff V into that, and then after that you would chain 2 and do this last corner the same way that we've done all the other corners. All right, and then I'll meet back up with you here when we make it here near the end. All right, I'm coming to the end of row 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I just did my back post slip stitch around the middle stitch of this group of 5 on the corner. I'm going to need to chain 2 after that. And we're going to go ahead and end by slip stitching kind of in the side here of this first puff. Doesn't have to be exact, just somewhere near it. And we can, I'm going to switch colors. All right. So as in the round 4, you got your 4 corner puffs. And then you have 1, 2, 3 on this side, 1, 2, 3 on this side of the regular puff V's, and then 1 on each of this side. So rows 5 and 6 now are going to be the repeat rows. No more weird stuff, all right? No more weird stuff. It's all going to be the way it's supposed to be. Hopefully, anyways. I'm going to clip these tails so they're not in my way. I hid them as I went. All right. So row 5 is a shell stitch row. And let's see. I'm going to start this. I'm going to start it in one of the corners. So you notice the corner puffs have 2 chain spaces, all right? Start in the first chain space of the 2. Now this is how the corner shells are made from here on out. Okay. I'm just going to chain 1 to start there. So in this chain 2 space, the first one of this group, 9 double crochets. There we go. And now you have to make sure that you chain 1, because that chain 1 is where we'll put our next puff V stitch in the corner. So we did 9 doubles, we chained 1, and now we're going to jump over to the next chain 2 space of these 3 puffs, and we're going to work 9 doubles into that space. There we go. So that's how the shell corners are made from here on out. That way when you do your back post slip stitch, you'll have the 9 to work in like you did all the ones in between here. All right, so we are going to now single crochet. So in this shell here from the previous shell row, see where we put the back post, the stitch that we put the back post slip stitch, we're going to go into the top of that same stitch and single crochet, just like that. And then in the next puff V stitch, we're going to work 9 double crochets. 1, like that. And then we're coming over here to where we did the back post slip stitch, so into the same stitch but the top of it, single crochet. And we're going to go ahead and repeat this pattern until we get to our corner. So we jump over and we do 9 doubles here, and then we single crochet into the top of the stitch that we did the slip stitch around the post of. All right, and we're going to keep doing that, and I'll meet up with you at the corner. All right, so I did 9 doubles into my last double V, and we have to single crochet here into this spot where we put a back post slip stitch. We single crochet into the top of the stitch, just like we did on the other spots. And now we're at the corner. So we got our 2 spaces, 9 doubles into the first one. There's 9. Make sure that you chain 1, so we'll have a spot to put our corner puff V on the next row. And in the next chain 2 space here, 9 doubles again. There's 9, and then we need to single crochet into the same stitch that we put our back post slip stitch in, and then 9 doubles into our next puff V stitch. There's 9, single crochet into the same spot as our, on top of it though, same stitch as our back post slip stitch, single crochet, and then we're at our next corner. So we're just going to repeat this pattern, what we just did, on this side, right over here. Alright, I'll see you in a second. Alright, so I'm coming to the end of round 5. I just did a single crochet into the same top of the stitch as that back post slip stitch, and then I'm going to end the round by slip stitching into my first double crochet of my first shell. There we go, and I'm going to switch colors. Now we are on track. So that was row 5, and that is how we will always repeat the shell row. It's always done like that. You'll always gain more shells. You know, as you get bigger, you'll gain more. But if you look at the end of round 5, you have your 4 corner ones, and you have 3 regular ones on this side, and 1 on this side. All right, go ahead and do round 6, which is the repeat of the puff stitch row. So round 5 and 6 are the repeat rows. I'm going to go ahead and start in a corner in the chain 1 space of any one of these corners. And what we're going to do, round 6 is very similar to row 4, the puff stitch row on row 4. The only difference is the corners. There's not 5 here anymore. Now there's 9, just like the rest of them. But so we'll go ahead and start, and we are going to make our corner puff stitch, which is this right here. Chain 1 in that chain 1 space, and do our corner puff, which is 1 puff. And then we chain 2, back in, do another puff, chain 2, and since it's the corner, we need 1 more. Like that. Always chain 2, and now we have the shell here. We find the middle stitch of this shell, and now it will always be 9 shells in the corner, not like this round down here. So it's the 5th one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, just like all the others, and you back post slip stitch into that middle one. And then you always chain 2, and then you come up to the next single crochet, and every time there's a single crochet, that means it gets a regular puff V-stitch into it. You have to chain 2 afterwards, always chain 2. And then we're coming up on a shell. We got to find the middle stitch of that shell, which will always be the 5th one from now on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Back post slip stitch into it. Always chain 2 afterwards. And puff V-stitch into the next single crochet. So I'm going to repeat this pattern. We're doing puff V-stitches into each of the single crochets, making sure you're chaining 1 or chaining 2 before and after the puff V-stitches, and in the middle of the stitch of the group of 9, always the 5th one, you do your back post slip stitch. Always a chain 2 between the slip stitches and the puff stitches. All right, so each single crochet gets the regular puff. I'll meet up with you here at the corner. And it's, like I said, it's okay if it's like flipping and stuff. It's normally the shell row that will keep it flat. So the puffs usually flip up. So don't worry about it if that's happening. It's okay. Alright, I've made it to the corner. I just did a puff V in my last single crochet. I just want to make sure I chain 2. And then the corner here, we have that chain 1, this group of 9. Find the middle one, the 5th one, just like the other shells. And back post slip stitch into it. Like that. Chain 2, always chain 2. And then in the chain 1 space, we are going to work the corner puffs, just like this. So that's 1 puff, chain 2. Oops. 2 puffs, chain 2, 1 more for the corner, 1 more for the corner. Make sure you chain 2 afterwards, and we're going to repeat everything that we've been doing. So we got to find the middle of this group of 9, so the 5th one. Back post slip stitch around it, chain 2, always chain 2, and then in the single crochet they always get the puff V stitch. Chain 2, and then your next shell, the middle one, 2, 3, 4, 5th one, back post slip stitch, chain 2, always chain 2, next single crochet, puff V stitch. Chain 2. Now we're coming up on the corner shells, and that first set of 9, the middle one, 1, 2, 3, 4, that 5th one, back post slip stitch, chain 2, and in the chain 1 space we're going to do our middle puff stitches again. So we're just going to repeat this pattern all the way around and end by slip stitching into the side of our first puff, tie off, and like I said, it'll be flippy, but yeah, that's it. It's repeating rows 5, the shell row of 5, and then the puff stitch row of 6. And always remember, when you do a puff stitch row, it's gonna look crumply. It's the shell stitch row that helps it lay flat. And we're going to keep repeating those 2 rows until you get it the size that you want it to be. But you want to end on a shell stitch row. On your final, I'll meet up with you on your final shell stitch row. All right, there's just one little thing you do different to make around the corner better, but you just keep repeating rows 5 and 6, 5 and 6, shell row, puff row, shell row, puff row. Yeah, on the long side, not counting the corner puffs, you'll always gain 1 more puff V, And then on the shorter sides, not counting the corners, you'll always gain one more puff V. All right. So in total, you'll be gaining, not counting the corners, 4 more puff V's every time you do a puff V-stitch row. And the same goes for the shells, not counting the corner shells. You'll always gain another one on each side. All right. Yep. All right. I'm going to keep going. I'll see you in a little bit. 5 and 6, 5 and 6. All right. All right. Once you get it as big as you want it to be, I'm cutting it short for tutorial purposes. On that last row of shells that you do, the only difference is on the corners, you don't chain 1. You just do 9 doubles. Don't chain 1 and do 9 doubles. Kind of rounds it off. They're better. But yes, that's it. That's how you do it rectangle style. Make it as big or as small as you like. I hope you enjoyed. Also, don't forget to check out the square if you like that one as well. I'll put a link to this one below. And this is the video for this one. So, don't forget to give me a like, subscribe, and a comment below. I always appreciate that. And until next time, have a good day. Bye, guys.